Good morning. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of September. We're at St Pancras, and I guess the very last time.
For the very last time indeed.
This is a You're heading to the tube now.
For the exploring part.
Customer information.
Oh, voiceover guy, I forgot to ask you. Roll that clip again, please. Only this time, play the Running in the 90s track with it. Alright then, I can be bothered to do that. Does that please you? Nice job, my voiceover guy. So I guess it does please you. Indeed it does. Anyway, let's just get back to the European trip and enjoy it while it's still here.
Closing doors. London Overground and National Rail Services. This is a Victoria Line train to Brixton. The next station is Warren Street. Doors will open on the left-hand side. Change for the Northern Line. Exit for University College Hospital. This station has reduced escalator facilities. College Hospital. This is a Victoria Line train to Brixton. This station has reduced escalator facilities. On the right-hand side, change for Bakerloo and Central lines. The next station is Windpark. Doors will open on the right-hand side. Change for Jubilee and Piccadilly lines. Exit for Buckingham Palace. This station has step-free access.
So Green Park is where we got off. And then we headed over to the Jubilee Line platforms.
along with you, go.
Now, the trains that run on this line are called the 1996 stock. Their interior used to be yellow and turquoise in colour, but it was refurbished around 2 years ago, and that's 2 years before making this video. Also, there used to be open door buttons on both the inside and outside of the train, but now there are only open door buttons on the inside of the train and not the outside. Anyway, we stepped off the train at Waterloo for a Northern Line train up to Leicester Square.
Change for the Piccadilly, Northern and Waterloo and City Line and National Rail services.
So on the Northern Line platforms, here's a train. This is what some people would call the slowest line on the underground.
Circle and District lines. Exit for riverboat services from Embankment Pier.
So we're at Embankment on the Northern Line, and what you've just heard is an original voice
Of Mind the Gap, voiced by
Oswald Lobbins, who is famous for his Mind the Gap announcements.
This is a recording which was kindly restored at Embankment by TfL for his widow who liked hearing his voice. Anyway, we soon made it to Leicester Square.
Do you know between here and Covent Garden is London's shortest tube journey?
So we went as far as Holborn, where we caught the Central Line to Ealing Broadway.
So at Ealing Broadway, behind me is the works for the new station at Ealing Broadway. That will be finished in a few years' time.
This is the main reason I wanted to come to Ealing Broadway. Soon we caught the district line towards Gloucester Road.
The next station is Chiswick Park.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Then we headed for Westminster to see Big Ben, which was still in its scaffolding.
There it is. It's still all under construction.
When I say construction, I mean still having work done to it. Now, at the time of filming this video, Big Ben had been like that for over 2 years. Now, it's been like that for over 3 years, and it was said that it would be like that for
4 years.
And within that time, it wouldn't chime unless it was on a special occasion like New Year.
But there's still 2 years to come, I think, before it starts properly chiming again.
That was only said at the time of filming too. It should now hopefully be less than a year before you start hearing that sweet chime from Big Ben once again. Anyway, with that being said, we left Big Ben and headed for Westminster Tube Station again. And then we caught the Circle line towards Liverpool Street, where we then caught the Hammersmith and City line towards King's Cross St Pancras.
The Northern, Piccadilly and Victoria lines, national and international rail services. Exit for the Royal National Institute of Blind People and the British Library.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
However, we weren't finishing our journey yet, as we still had a few hours left of being on the tube, so we then caught the Metropolitan line up to Northwick Park.
The next station is Finchley Road. Change for the Jubilee line.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Something that I should mention is that, like the Victoria line, Jubilee line trains on the doors of the outside, they have yellow and black arrows on the doors.
They never used to have them though, but since being refurbished, Jubilee line trains have always had those things.
That over there is the Wembley Stadium. It's where I went a few months ago to see Sunderland and Charlton play.
The next station is Wembley Park. Change for the Jubilee line. Exit for Wembley Stadium and Wembley Arena.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Anyway, we soon made our stop at Wembley Park, which was then followed shortly by Preston Road, and after that, we soon made it to Northwick Park.
So at Northwick Park, and
What we're doing is
walking to Kenton now.
The next train to arrive at Hartwell is
So what we came to Kenton for was to catch the Bakerloo line towards Baker Street.
And the platform. This is a Bakerloo line train to Elephant and Castle. Please stand clear of the door.
Now, Baker Street is where we interchange to the Jubilee line. You'll find out where we were going in a minute.
This train terminates at North Greenwich.
Which is where we want to go.
Now, we were going to North Greenwich to catch the Emirates airline, which is a cable car that runs from Greenwich Peninsula to Royal Docks. So that means we'll have ridden on 3 cable cars this trip, those being in Madrid, Barcelona and London. Anyway, we soon made it to North Greenwich and quickly stepped aboard the cable car.
We're on the cable car. And we're off.
Also, I'll show you some clips that I took from the air. And we soon arrived at Royal Docks, where we walked a few metres to Royal Victoria on the DLR. We got on a train there, and more importantly, since there are seats right at the front of the train, that's where we sat, because it's where you can pretend that you're driving the train.
Once again, folks, the next station is Kennington, where this train will terminate. Change here for London on Jubilee line services. Also change here for the other services towards Woolwich Arsenal, towards Stratford International, and towards Towergate and back. Once again, this train terminates there. We'll change this.
So, like the announcer said, this train terminates here, so we have to change trains for a train to Stratford International, and we get off the train at Stratford. There are the platforms for Tower Gateway line. Well, down here is the Stratford International line. Woolwich Arsenal line is here, but I think it could also be there. I'm not too sure. Road.
Which is not the Abbey Road to come to if you're looking for the famous Beatles zebra crossing. That is at St John's Wood on the Jubilee line. Anyway, after stopping at Stratford High Street, we then made it to Stratford, where we then caught the London Overground back to Highbury and Islington.
Leaving for Highbury and Islington.
Canonbury, change here for London Overground services to Clapham Junction, New Cross, Crystal Palace and West Croydon via Surrey Quays.
Soon, we made it to Highbury and Islington, where we then caught the Victoria line back to King's Cross St Pancras.
Tube train off the journey, and here it leaves.
Now, I just wanted to show you this map of Europe and show you all the countries that we have been to on the European trip. And soon, we headed for King's Cross Station. Now, since we were travelling back home in first class, I thought I'd take a quick look inside LNER's first class lounge at King's Cross.
It's rather busy. There's a TV, there's departure boards, an LNER sign, and many things to eat and drink here. And this is our last train of the journey. I've learnt something. A great holiday is what we needed, but a great holiday must always come to an end. Also, this train has changed its destination. It was meant to be going to Edinburgh, but it's now going to Newcastle.
Anyway,
We're in Coach K, so we've got quite a walk. I'll be on the train in a few moments.
I think it might make it. It might be worth it, eh?
I found out why it's not going straight to Edinburgh. It's because of many broken down trains that need repairing at the same time.
Anything for them? Hello there. Where are you travelling to today? Hello there. Any cold drinks here today?
Now over there somewhere is Alexandra Palace, and it's where the cable car went. It went from Alexandra Palace to Crystal Palace originally. But not just that, it's where they used to record TV from studios. They used to broadcast it.
Will arrive at Peterborough shortly.
well guys, we are very nearly at the end of the trip now, so we will now do a look back on it, starting on day 1 and finishing right on this day. Roll it all please. Anyway, returning to the European trip for the last leg of the journey, we soon arrived into Peterborough.
We're at Peterborough, leaving the station just about. Only 2 hours, 15 minutes to go till we're back.
After stopping at Newark Northgate, we then made it to Doncaster.
We're good. Very close now. Very close. rather nervous now.
And then it was York we stopped at.
We're now at York, back at the National Railway Museum.
And after passing through Northallerton, we made it to Darlington, which meant we only had Durham to go.
We're now at Darlington, so it's one more station to go.
And after around 20 minutes, we arrived at the final destination of the European trip.
The cathedral, all lit up there. We are now arriving at our final destination of the trip, which is the place where we started at. Here we are. Right. There we are. Ooh. Back where we started, in Durham.
Then we got a taxi cab back home. Now, I decided to do the outro to the video the following day, because I just couldn't be bothered to do it that night. Anyway, all I'll say now is...
I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, and thanks.
Yes, this is a little thank you message.
To say thanks for tuning in to the European trip. I thought of doing one yesterday, but I just forgot about it. Thanks for tuning in to this holiday.
That was a failed attempt at doing it, because I just couldn't be bothered to do that either.
End of that. We also received a welcome home card. Look, it's a welcome home card.
Anyway, now I'm doing a thank you message and explaining my whole experience of the European trip. It's what I'm doing.
For the outro of this video, in fact, the whole European trip.
I'll only include major scenes in this explanation though. Anyway.
I didn't like the fact of waiting a few hours behind schedule for the ferry.
However, it got all right in the end, which was a good thing.
There was a bit of starting and stopping between Santander and Madrid, but eventually that got sorted out. There wasn't that much in the way of the metro at Madrid. There was only like 2 lines we included with very few stations.
But at least we managed to go on it.
The rides at Ventura were great. The villa was great. At Barcelona, I was expecting something would go wrong with my camera.
As in, if some rascal would steal it.
In fact, anywhere I could have expected something to go wrong. Thankfully, it didn't.
Also, the flight from Barcelona to Rome with Ryanair was brilliant, although...
I've never seen trams cut right through
the square, nor have I ever seen
a city with so much water when we went to Venice.
Nor have I ever seen
trams that go underground when we went to Vienna. The overnight train was great going from Vienna to Berlin, and it was more or less a smooth crossing.
Now, pretty much every type of transport in Berlin is yellow and black.
Except that overground train that I call, that went round Berlin, that was more like a creamy colour with red on it.
Also, I'd say my least favourite place on the trip was Cologne, mainly because of the hotel we stayed in. It wasn't very civilised, however, it was still okay, and also, the time in the Eurotunnel
lasts shorter than you expect it to.
And finally,
we had a full day of exploring London yesterday,
which was probably my favourite part of it all.
But now, here we are, back at the place I know best, which is of course
Durham.
And that is officially the end of the European trip.
Now, I am thinking of doing something like this again,
which will include more of other countries, if you know.
That will probably take place in a few years' time, but like with this one, it will need to have a lot of organising, if it actually goes ahead, of course.
That's the end of this one, but we are not going to try, because overall,
I think we have had
a great